Welcome back to another episode of the Bodyproof podcast slash YouTube channel. We are combining the two now. So if you like the podcast and you want to see my pretty face, you can just log into YouTube and check it out there as well. So that's just Team Bodyproof, Stephen Arnold on YouTube, health and performance. And you can check me out in person. You can have a little watch of the video. And likewise, if you're on YouTube and you just listen to these, you can pop over and subscribe to our podcast as well. Obviously on our YouTube channel, we have a lot of other videos as well that aren't on podcasts. And likewise, we have a lot of podcasts that aren't YouTube videos, but this one is going to be on YouTube and it's also going to be on a podcast. So you can choose your platform. And obviously, if you do like it, you can pop over to our Facebook group, our Instagram page, our website, check us out there. Just look for Team Bodyproof or Stephen Arnold and you'll find us pretty quick. So this topic this week, I think it's like maybe episode 59, somewhere around there. We've done a fair few in the late 50s. We're cracking on. I normally get my numbers a little bit wrong because once I've done an episode, I'll chuck it into a unedited folder, and then Ricky from over at the radio station over in America, there he edits them all, gets them ready for the radio. But he processes them in a different order, so I'll do them and then he'll take them out. So there's always like 4 in the bank, so I always get a bit mixed up with where we are. It might be 59 on production, but it might get popped out and then uploaded as like 55 or something. There's a little bit of a difference there, but we're in the late 50s anyway. And the topic that we're talking about today is how you can stay fit, healthy in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, because the approach that we need to take there is slightly different as we age. As we get older, the things that we need to do need to be slightly different. And a lot of people that come to me that are struggling with health and fitness when they are in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s is they get frustrated because the things that they used to do, the things that used to work when they were in their 20s, all of a sudden aren't working for them now. It's just not working. It used to be so much easier. I used to do this and it'd be fine, and now it's not. And they get frustrated with themselves as well. Like, I used to be able to lose weight, and then now I can. And it used to be so easy, and now it's not. And I can't eat these foods anymore. I can't do that anymore, and I just can't get ahead. And for me as a coach, it's like, okay, well, the first thing that we need to do is to help you understand that you're no longer in your 20s. Your body is different. You are a different person. Your lifestyle is different. So your approach to health and fitness has to be different as well. And the first thing that I talk about with my clients when they come in and they're feeling like this and they're experiencing this slower rate of results in their 30s, 40s, and 50s is every day when you wake up, I want you to think that you have this liter jug of water, and the water represents your daily energy. And you have 3 cups. 1 cup represents your relationships, 1 cup represents your career, and 1 cup represents your health. Now, different people might have different cups, and some people may have 4, but for the mass majority of people, we have relationships, we have career, and we have health. And with this liter of energy, this liter of water, you get to choose every day how you distribute your daily energy. Now, when you're in your 20s, we're not really as career focused, although the majority of us aren't as career focused. We probably don't have a long-standing relationship. We might not have kids, we might not have our own business. Not obviously there's exceptions, but for the mass majority. And what we can do every day is put the mass amounts of the water into our health jug, into our health cup. And we can focus on getting to the gym, making sure we get the best session, making sure we eat our food at the right time, weighing all our food out, getting the best results, not to mention our hormonal profile, but just for now, we're just talking about distribution of energy. And then as we move into our 30s, 40s, and 50s, we have kids, we have businesses, we have high-powered, stressful jobs, and all of a sudden, we still only have the same 1 liter of energy. And we have to put more into our career, more into our relationships, more into our kids, more into the grandkids, more into our relationship. You have to focus on these things more. And what happens is it takes focus and energy away from your health and fitness. And looking at the extreme, you probably know people that are so busy with kids. They've got 2, 3, 4 kids, all under the age of 3. Like, they don't have time to look after themselves very well. Or people that have really big businesses or stressful jobs, they'll just put all their water into their work glass every day. And then the health starts falling down, or the relationships start falling down, and they start getting frustrated. I'm going to the gym because you haven't put enough time and focus in there. So what I say to people is the objective for us as individuals, as people, as human beings, is to get to the end of the period where we have equal distribution between all three areas of our life. So end of the quarter, end of the year, we want to have equal distribution. Now, within the year, there's going to be periods where you have to put more into your family or your relationship glass. There's going to be periods where you have to put more into your work glass, but you have to realize that this is what you're doing at that time. And then at the end of the week or end of the month or the end of the quarter, you can say, well, yeah, that has been a busy period for me. I have put more water, more energy into my career for the last month. It's been busy, but now I've got a little bit of headspace. So I'm going to make sure that I equal that out by putting more into my family, more into my relationships, or more into my health. I'm going to equal it out now for the next period coming. And it's okay to work through different phases as long as you get to the end of the quarter, the end of the year, where you have equal distribution. And if you don't get equal distribution, this is when we start getting problems. So for people that spend every day work, what we see, they get into their late 40s and 50s, their health has deteriorated to a really bad position: diabetes, stress, gut issues, sleep issues, relationship issues. So it's important to realize what you're doing, and you can review this every week and you can plan ahead. And a really great thing to do, and this is what I say to a lot of my clients, is if you know you're going to be busy at work, don't just dive straight into it. Say to your partner, say to your kids, hey, look, I am going to be busy for the next week or for the next 2 weeks. I've got to bring this new member of staff in. I've got to build this new system. Just got to hit my sales targets. So I am probably going to give you a little bit less than I normally do. And it's not because I want to, it's just because we have to. But at the end of the week or the end of the 2 weeks, what we're doing is it will be done. I'll have got ahead and then I can spend more time with you. And this is what we're going to do at the end of those 2 weeks to make that time back up. This is how the next 2 weeks after that's going to go. You're going to get more water and we're going to do it like this. And I'm also going to make sure that I spend more time for my health and plan ahead and have the discussion so people know. And you know with yourself as well. It's okay to miss, to go from 4 training sessions down to 3 for the next 2 weeks because I'm busy. But at the end of those 2 weeks, I'm then going to pick my training up and make sure that I make time to do 5 sessions a week. And this is how we create better balance throughout the long term. And this is really, really important to people because people don't realize what they're doing. They pour all their water into their relationships, all their water into their health, wealth, their career, and then they forget about their health. They get neglected. They go down the line, get months down, years down the track, and then it's a big disaster and we've got to try to correct it. So every day, think of that. Think of when you wake up, you have 3 cups. 1 for relationships, 1 for your wealth, for your career, 1 for your health and your fitness and wellness. And it's up to you how you choose to distribute that 1 litre jug of water, that 1 litre jug of energy. How are you going to share that between the 3 different areas of your life? And if you do have to have out of balanced distribution between the 3, just plan ahead and know when you can recorrect it, when you can rebalance it out, recalibrate it and achieve equal balance at the end of the quarter and at the end of the year. That's always the objective. And when we can do that, we can start working towards better health and fitness long-term, better relationships, better wealth. And this is the biggest thing that I come across when people are in their 30s, 40s and 50s. They've just pulled themselves out of balance. They haven't realized what they're doing and they're getting stuck, they're getting trapped and they're finding it difficult. And it's okay, like we said, it is okay to go through phases where you're more focused on work, where you have to get ahead. But the objective of that phase is to always create more time so that at the end of the period, where it's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, don't leave it much longer than that because your relationship's not going to hang around too long. When you get to the end of the phase, it's to make sure that you're creating time so that you can refocus on your health and your relationships. There's no point in working to be more busy. That's never going to work. You're never going to have a happy, healthy life if you do that. If you're working to create more work, you're always going to find that your health and your relationships are going to struggle. So it's important to work through phases, and the objective of the phase is to always create more time so you can create more balance. So when I go quiet, it's just because I'm looking at my notes and just ticking off as we go. I like to make some bullet points as we go and I keep on track. Okay, and then once we have that established and we can start realizing and calculating and planning for this balance, we also need to have different expectations upon ourselves. So, and you know, like I'm terrible for this, and most of my clients, or a lot of my clients, are as well. That they set themselves standards that they were abiding by or sticking to when they were in their 20s, but all of a sudden we're a decade on, and it's like, well, you can't really have those expectations upon yourself. You don't have the capacity to do that now. When I was in my 20s, you know, like my main focus in life was my main pleasure was the gym and getting results. And I would work. When I was at work, I was thinking about the gym, getting up there and smashing PBs. My body could recover. I had everything there. I had the hormonal profile to support it. I had the time to eat, go home, eat. Just everything was perfect. My recovery was perfect. I had ice baths. I had time to do those things. And now all of a sudden in my 30s, like that's just not possible for me. It's not possible. I don't have that much more time. My main focus has to be on my work. You know, when I'm working, I'm thinking about work. I can't be 50% in my work like I was when I was in my 20s. You know, my job wasn't as demanding. It was more physically. It wasn't as mentally demanding back then. I had more brain capacity to think, and also on a hormonal profile, I had more ability to recover from the training sessions. Now in my 30s, 37, if I trained like I did in my 20s, I'd last about 20 minutes. I'd be injured and I'd be walking out the gym early. We just can't live by the standards that we have set upon ourselves in the 20s. And women are really bad for this. What we'll say is like women, like they looked great in their 20s, then they had a couple of kids, and they just can't get back to their pre-baby weight. They might be like 2 or 3 kilos heavier, or 4 or 5, and they get frustrated. Why can't I be 63 kilos again? Why can't I, you know, I'm 68, why can't I be 63? Ever since I had the kids, I've just not been able to get back to 63. And it's like, well, are you supposed to be 63? Like, is anybody expecting that of you? Because now, back in your 20s, when you were 63 kilos, it was just you. You were just being you. That was all you had to worry about. But now that you're in your 30s or your 40s, you're having to be you. You're having to be a mother. You're having to be a wife, and you're having to keep a house. Now, you can't be amazing at all of them. You can't be world class at all of them like you were in your 20s. You only had you to think about. It was just you being you. You can be the best version of yourself, no problem. But now you can't expect yourself to be like that when you have so much more on your plate and so much more to deal with. And same with me and the guys. It's like you can't have the same expectations you had on yourself when you're in your 20s. Back then, it was just me being me. I just had to be the best version of me, enjoy myself, look after myself. But now it's like I've got to be me. I've got to be a boyfriend. I've got to, I've got to be a business owner where I look after 69 clients, I think 72 clients. Got to support the businesses in the UK. It's just not. I don't have the capacity, and I shouldn't have the expectations upon myself that I had back then. Just from a mental capacity, from a lifestyle, from an environment standpoint, but also a physiological standpoint as well. As we get older, our hormonal profile changes, and it does get harder to recover. It does get harder to lose weight. It does get harder to build muscle. We're just not primed for it as we're in our 30s, 40s, 50s. But your focus has shifted. You're not the person you were. You're now better in other areas. You've developed in other areas, and life is different for you. You just can't have the same expectations upon yourself as you did when you're in your 20s. And for a lot of women, for a lot of guys, it's like, I'm like, why can't I be 90? It was so easy for me to get to 90 kilos before. I'm like 80, yeah, I just want to get there. No one notices that 2 kilos. If I put that 2 kilos on, nobody would even notice. And it's the same for women. They're like, I'm 63, I'm 68. Why can't I be 63 again? That's where I feel better. That's where I look best. Like, no one actually notices those 5 kilos. No one will say anything different. You could lose the 5 kilos and no one will even notice it on you. So speak to the people around you and ask them, what do you think? How do you think I look? And the answer is normally, you look bloody great, love. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world. This is something that's very, very true. Like, we have expectations upon ourselves to look a certain way, but nobody actually really cares. No one notices anyway. Like, 1 kilo on the scales is a big deal, but 1 kilo when you're visual, when you look at someone, if they put a kilo difference, you would not notice it on a lot of people. You just wouldn't notice it. So, you can't have the expectations on yourself, and the expectations you set up on yourself are normally false and inaccurate anyway. They're just not required. It's not realistic. It's not fair to yourself. is you just got to be fair to yourself, be the person you are, and live in the moment a bit more, and stop worrying about the way that you look and feel compared to how you used to or how you think you should look, because it's just not realistic expectations a lot of the time. We call ourselves human beings for a reason. Just be you, and be happy with being you. There's a lot to be said for that. It's not, we don't say human doings, it's human beings. So just be you, and embrace it and love yourself. And that's normally enough for the people around you. I hear it so often. Women get so concerned about the way they look, but their partners love them for who they are. They wouldn't change them for the world, and women are trying to change to impress them or keep them happy when it's just not required. They're already happy. They just want them to be happy with the way they look, and that's always enough. And something that we can do to help you move forward and look and feel better consistently in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, when you do start getting busier with your relationships, your kids, your business, and your careers, is look to achieve better balance long term. So what we'll see is people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they'll be desperate to get results. We want to get that 5 kilos off. Poor old Jenny's gone from 63 to 68 through 10 years, having 2 kids, getting married, moving house, and now doing a part-time job and running a house. She put 5 kilos on. And what she'll do is she's so desperate to lose that weight, she'll go through phases where I'm going to diet really hard and train really hard and try to get this fast result, try to get this weight off really quick. And we all know that these behaviors, these actions, these programs, these little phases of being 100% compliant, they create big peaks, and big peaks leading to big valleys. And you probably know people, you may even have done this yourself. Peaks, valleys, peaks, valleys, peaks, valleys. And we end up with a net neutral result. We don't end up going forward or backwards. We end up in the same spot. You might lose a kilo in a week, but then you can't sustain it, and it all comes back on. Peaks and valleys. The best thing to do, and I love this theory, something that was taught to me by Nick Peterson, is the 10 by 10 theory. Improve by 10% per month, every month for 10 months. And it gives you a 100% turnaround within the first year. And how incredible would that be if you could have said to yourself a year ago, you will be exactly where you want to be in 1 year's time from making very small efforts every single month, compared to going massive change, massive valleys, massive peaks, and ending up at the same spot 3-4 years later of trying all these failed attempts. Try the 10 by 10, 10% per month, every month for 10 months. You'll get 100% turnaround within the first year. Without making too much of an effort, too much big change. Just look for what you can do and create balance within your life, create balance within your approach to health and fitness. In your 20s, yeah, you could make big changes because it was just you being you. You had more space, more capacity to do that. But now you've got so much more on your plate. It's not easy to make these big turnarounds. So stop trying to do that. They're not going to work for you. You're going to build big peaks and create big valleys. Create balance, something that is sustainable for you, and something that you can stick to long term. This is always going to produce the best results over time. Like, I know it because I work with people. I see it all the time. People come in that want that fast result. They never get anywhere. They come into our program, we start trying to coach them, and they either take it on board and they get results over time, or they just don't. They crash and burn. You've got to create balance, something that you can stick to and sustain long term. An approach that you can stick to is going to get you the best possible result, rather than trying to do a complete 180 turnaround, change everything. That's just not going to happen. All right, next point. So we're getting through this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 points there. 5th point is look at your environment. Look at your environment and see how you can change that to support you with your goal, support you moving forward. The biggest thing, and probably one of the most important things with this environmental factor, is have conversations, have big conversations with the people in your life. So it might be your partner, it might be your work colleague, it might be your friends. Hey, Dave, I'm Jenny, you're Dave. Dave, this is what I'm trying to do. This is why I want to do it. This is why it's important to me. This is how you influence it. Could we please understand what I'm doing and why I want to do it? And could you support me? I don't need you to do it with me, but I just need you to understand how you influence my goals and how that impacts me. And I'm asking you to understand that, and can you support me? Now, this is something that I had to learn myself as a young lad in my 20s. I wanted more for my life. I wanted more for my body. I wanted to be fit and healthy. I wanted to look good and feel good. So I'd go out with my mates midweek and they'd all be drinking 6, 7 pints. And I was like, I just don't want to do it anymore. Like, I want more from my life. And they'd be like, what's wrong with you? Like peer pressure, like they thought I was disrespecting them. What's wrong with you? Come on. And they would just like, verbally try to bully me and peer pressure me into drinking. And it got to a point where it was just awkward and I stopped wanting to go out with them, become unsocial. And it wasn't until I said, guys, look, I just want more from my life. Like, I'll still go out with you at the weekends and we can have drinks at the weekends, but I just don't want to do it midweek. Like, I just want to start reducing it, start living a healthier life. Can you support me? Can you understand that? Does that make sense to you? Like, I'm not disrespecting, I don't like you any less. I just want more from my life. And if I'm going to eat healthy and train during the week, I don't want to ruin it by going drinking on a Wednesday, Thursday night. Like, can you understand that and appreciate that? And that conversation helped me. Then they would turn around and they started supporting me. So I think that's a massive part of it as well. And especially when people are married in their 30s, 40s, 50s, especially when people work in office environments, the environment is so impactful. If the partner's coming home, they've had a bad day, they like eating chocolate, eating popcorn, eating ice cream on the sofa, it's hard. It impacts you as an individual as well. And people that work in offices, we get this all the time. It's people I've worked with, they bring chocolate and biscuits, and we have tea at 3. We have Tim Tams. There's 11 Tim Tams in a packet. How do I know that? Because we have one each every lunchtime. It's control that environment, have the discussions, and take control of that environment. And that's going to help you work towards your health and fitness goals. And the last point is learn to love yourself. This is something I've had to learn recently. Someone said to me, I do a lot of work with mindset coaches. We have mindset coaches that work in our coaching program and help our clients. A lot of the time, the reason people can't lose weight is not because they don't know what to eat and how to train. Sometimes it is. A lot of the time, it's something else, and we have to identify why. So we have mindset coaches that work in our coaching program, and I do a lot of work with them personally as well. And one of them said to me, Steve, would you ask any of your employees to live the way that you live? Would you ask them to do the things that you do? Would you ask an employee to get up and start work at 5 o'clock on a Saturday or a Sunday morning? Would you ask an employee to work till 8 o'clock on a Thursday night? I was like, yeah, I get you. You need to learn to love yourself a bit more. Would you ask somebody you love to do the things that you do? Would you ask your partner to do the things that you do? You need to learn to love yourself. And when you can love yourself, when you really truly understand loving yourself and how you can love yourself better, it makes dieting, training, and being healthy a whole lot easier. I had one client and she was like, she'd prep all the kids' meal food and all the husband's food for the week, and she wouldn't do it for herself. And I was like, why you do that? You've got everything in front of you. And I just think it's because she just didn't love herself enough. She thought her purpose was to serve everybody else. But until you can love yourself and look after yourself, you're never going to be able to give your kids and the husband the best of what you have available. They're never going to get the best from you unless you're looking, feeling the way that you want and the way that you deserve. You just need to love yourself more and treat yourself the way that you would treat others. And when you can do that, then training and nutrition becomes a whole lot easier. You go there and you do it because you want to, because you love yourself enough to give yourself the right foods. It's a really crazy concept and one that's really hard to understand, but it's one that I really encourage everybody to think about and ask yourself those big questions. Do you love yourself? Would you ask an employee to work the way that you work? Would you ask someone you love to live the way that you live? Would you ask somebody you love to do the things that you do? And if the answer is yes, then you're in a good spot. Health and fitness is going to come easy to you. If the answer is no to any of those questions, health and fitness is always going to be a struggle to you. Stop punishing yourself. Start loving yourself. Love yourself better. So that's my 6 points to how you can live healthy and happy and lose weight and grow muscle, have better energy, better digestion, better confidence, and better relationships in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Let's just recap. Point 1 was every day you wake up, you have 1 liter of energy or 1 liter of water, and it's up to you how you distribute that energy between the 3 cups. your health, your wealth, and your relationships. It's okay to have periods where you're out of balance. One cup gets more than the other. As long as they equal out by the end of the quarter and the end of the year, as long as they equal out, you're fine. 2, have realistic expectations upon yourself. You're not the same person you were in your 20s, both physically, psychologically, and circumstance-wise. Be fair to yourself. Set realistic expectations. Point 3, work through phases. It's okay to have a period where you're more focused on work. It's okay to have a period where you're more focused on relationships. It's okay to have a period where you're more focused on fitness, as long as you create balance. Point 4, balance, achieve balance, make sure it's sustainable, make sure you can stick to it long term. Don't try to go for crazy fads, 180 turnaround, change everything. Change one thing at a time, 10 by 10, 10% per month, every month for 10 months. Point 5, your partner and your environment. Have those big conversations. Control, or don't try to control, but help the people that are important to you, the people that influence your environment, to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how they impact you. Ask them for their support. And point 6, the last point, learn to love yourself. Would you ask your employees to work the way you work? Would you ask the people you love to do the things you do? Would you ask the people you love to live the way that you live? Some big questions and some great points there, guys. Take it from me. I'm 37. I work with a lot of people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Busy people, busy executives, busy parents. I know from personal experience and from professional experience, these 6 tips are really, really important. That's something that we go over a lot. And it's really important to look at them and consider them and think about them and address them all as you work through your own health and fitness journey. Right, guys, that's about it for me. I'm going to sign off another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know that your time is precious. My time is precious. So the fact that you've given me your time means the world to me. I hope I managed to provide some value for you. If you did like it, please like and comment. Please subscribe to my channel. Log into iTunes, give me a 5-star review and a rating. Subscribe to my iTunes, subscribe to YouTube, go over onto Facebook, like our Facebook page, like my profile, just connect with us. Let me know how I can help you more. Spread the word. If you like it, pass this on, share it. Let's help everybody live a happy and healthy life. That's what we're here for. Give us a shout, reach out, let us help you. Stay tuned, and I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Peace out, y'all.